and once again I welcome you all in World CyberCon India 2023 second edition. And it's time now to start with our panel discussion 3. That will be on the topic Empowering Cyber Sentinels, the crucial role of AI and ML in defending cyberspace. And for this, I would like to request Mr. Kiran Belsekar, EVP, CISO and IT Governance from Aegon Live to kindly come on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, requesting all of yours to please give a huge round of applause for Kiran Belsekar. I would also like to request Mr. Vijay Kumar Verma, SVP and Head Cyber Security Engineering, Geo Platforms Limited, to kindly come on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, keep on giving a huge round of applause. I would like to request Mr. Amitabh Bhardwaj, Joint Director from IT and Cyber, Ministry of Defense, Government of India, to kindly come on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, huge round of applause, please. I would like to request Ms. Pooja Shimpi, Founder and CEO, Cyber Now, to kindly come on stage. And last but not the least, I would like to request our moderator, Mr. Venkata Satish Guttula, co-founder and CISO, Cyber Gen X. Venkata Satish Guttula, sir, co-founder and CISO, Cyber X Gen, to kindly come on stage. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the panel discussion 3 and the topic is Empowering Cyber Sentinels, the crucial role of AI and ML in defending cyberspace. Over to you, Venkat, sir.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. I hope we have good tea time. We are still waiting for some people to come, but still we'll continue because in the interest of time. So, since today morning, there were different sessions, different topics, different panels here. And everyone in every topic, AI and ML was discussed in some form of. So we all were using AI. We all are using generative AI. So we all are using ChatGPT. So even I use ChatGPT. I used ChatGPT to change my code to secure the code. And we were using it in many places. And in the previous panel, it was also discussed that this AI is being used to attack people. So Warm GPT is there. People are making phishing pages which looks exactly like that. So in our awareness sessions, we give them, okay, look for spelling mistakes, look for this mistake, look for that mistake. But if ChatGPT and AI is making this in such a manner that will be very difficult for us to understand, then defending from AI and ML will be becoming a very big task to us. And we have to use, again, AI and ML to defend ourselves from these attacks. So the topic for this is defending ourselves from cybersecurity. So crucial role of AI and ML in defending cyberspace. So we have to use AI and ML in defending. So Mr. Vijay, can you tell us how do you see the role of AI and ML in evolving field of cybersecurity, and what are the most significant impacts you anticipate in the near future?
Venkat has rightly touched upon the recent changes and developments with OpenAI coming in. But before we go in that direction there, I want to bring a traditional way where machine learning and artificial intelligence plays a role. Machine learning has a capability on working data sets, identifying patterns and classifying it. Basically making it in a presentable, in a manner where decisions could be taken. And artificial intelligence tries to put certain human behavior into taking the decisions which have been prepared by machine learning. In a cybersecurity field, we typically work on various kinds of alerts which are being triaged and thrown into the central SIM tools. And another thing is that we need to work on what kind of data sets which are coming, which the cyber security tools can take advantage, and over a period of years this has been helping us also. If you talk about organization having multiple machines, so you can have a behavioral analysis of the machine itself, the security profile itself, what kind of processes are running, what kind of a CPU it uses, what kind of network connections which are going, which has been utilized by your EDR solutions by making a trend analysis of the endpoint. And the same thing related to the users which are logging to the systems or service ID making connections from one system to the second system. So we have something called as a user and entity behavior analysis, where the core is your AI/ML. And if you have a web service exposed to internet, there are incoming connections onto that. And in order to find vulnerabilities, there are a lot of bots which are attacking it. So if you plot a trend line around it, you have a botnet detection tool. Similarly, if you have a lot of emails coming into your inbox with different aims, you have spam filters designed and which can take inputs from AI/ML. In case you have a central SIM tool, a lot of alerts which are being thrown onto it, and actual attacks get missed from the SOC analyst because of the alert fatigue which happens. So there also AI/ML can be made use of. Now with this history, that was a traditional use of AI/ML in cyber security, how it has changed various products which have come and try to make our cyber practitioners' life little easier in terms of let us say reducing SOC analyst fatigue, reducing cyber security staffing requirements, and increasing our mean time to detect attacks. Now with this new technology which has come up with the OpenAI, with the ChatGPT or DALL-E, where we have seen that your cyber attacks, the technology is beneficial to everyone. I will give an example of beneficial. You can run a query to maybe work on a paper or find a solution to a problem. So you will get, and you can paste your questions into language form, and you get fairly accurate results. A similar technology is available to a hacker who can just write that I got this vulnerability on such and such system, how do I exploit it? So the ChatGPT can give you a relevant exploit code to do this. And there can be another feature where you have your developers which are using at the moment GitHub, but along with GitHub there are multiple products which has come up there. While you are typing your code in the GUI of your IDE, you can take help of like Copilot or other tools which can give you the code, and it can paste that code into your code blocks. So that is another area where people with malicious products or the fake websites can inject reverse web shells or some other codes there into your code, and it will get compiled into your product, and you will not come to know also about that. So with these techniques which are available to attackers now, your method of training of security awareness, let us say, to detect phishing mails or maybe doing something that has to change. And same thing regarding your regulatory laws which are there, how these platforms can be restricted for only ethical use, that has to come in. So I think in a year or two, we will see a lot of products coming into this particular field tackling these problems, as well as some laws getting formed around it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So you said AI/ML can be used in wide variety of your products to safeguard ourselves. But I found out there was an issue when we used that thing where we're using a product to block IPs. And this one, what it is taking the IPs and it is automatically blocking that thing without any mediation from the administrator. So the attacker also, they knew that something is happening, and what they are doing is they are using wide range of IP subnets, and they are attacking using that thing, and hence all these IP subnets are getting blocked. In short, it is doing a DDoS attack, which is taking use of the AI machines what we are using. So implementing AI is not straightforward. There will be some kind of problems in implementing. So, Pooja, do you foresee any such problems in implementing AI across these sectors?
Some challenges, I think there are a lot of challenges. So just imagine, there are so many tools available in the industry, right? So if you give a prompt to an AI tool that create a picture of a CISO, and you get a man picture. So do we see anything wrong in it? Obviously we'll not see anything wrong with that picture, but if we analyze it closely, we will come to know that why it has given the picture of a man instead of a woman. Because there are so less women representing CISO, so the tool is learning from the past data, right? And based on that data, it has created that result. So when we talk about sectors, right, so it all depends on the data quality and quantity when we have to train the AI models. So do we have that enough and correct data? Do we have the data which is accurate, which has the integrity? And can we 100% say that based on the data trained, our AI is producing a result which is reliable and which has a good degree of accuracy. Then sectors which has the reliance on explaining that how the AI has arrived on a result. For example, take a healthcare industry or account industry. So where you have to show to the auditor that based on this logic, we have taken this decision, right? But do we have that facility? Because sometimes, most of the times, AI work as a black box. You don't have the visibility how and what functions going on behind the scenes. Then do we have the right skills to implement AI tools in our organization? And if some problem arises, are we capable of correcting it? Then I would also think about the regulatory and compliance aspect. Different countries has the regulatory aspects which we need to consider before implementing this solution. And apart from those challenges, you must have seen that movie Ex Machina, where the robo, which is a humanoid robo, she smoothly manipulates the person and escape from the captivity house. So the biases are the other challenges, I would say.
So it is using social engineering and bias to do that thing. Okay. So Mr. Amitabh, this one is for you. Do you think AI can improve the threat detection in cybersecurity?
Thank you. Thanks for the question. At the outset, my thanks to Cyber Express to give me the opportunity to speak. And the disclaimer is that what I'm speaking is purely my personal opinion and my organization doesn't have anything to say on that. Okay, I'll take this question slightly in a different manner. I'll start with something which Sun Tzu has said about 500 BC. What Sun Tzu has said that if you know your enemy and you know yourself, you need not fear going into war. And the statement which he made almost about 3,000 years back still stands good in today's time as we speak for the cyber security as well. Another point I want to pick up from the history is the 10th century when gunpowder was invented by a few monks in China. They decided to invent this product and they use it for the good purpose. But later on, as a technology, when it was used by Mongols, you would all know the history, how the course of the history changed when the technology which was used by the monks, invented by the monks, used for the warfare, how it changed the society lived thereafter. And likewise, the same gunpowder when used by the Mughals in 15th century, that changed the course of history of our country. Another historical point is here made somewhere during World War II, when Enigma code was broken using a machine by the gentleman known as Alan Turing. And that was the point where machines proved them doing many things better what human could do. To cut it short, any technology which is used in the right manner can give you dividends, but when it is used as adversary, the adversary always have an edge. At the same point, there are few strategies. After gunpowder, AI is the next strategy which is changing the way we live, the way our society works, the way the security system works. AI is being named the second transformational technology by few strategists after the gunpowder. That statement itself highlights the nuances, the kind of intervention this technology can do. Now, again, since I come from the military background, I'll quote example from OODA loop, which was given by US Air Force in 1950s. It's a very simple four-word acronym, OODA: observe, orient, decide, and act. This framework was given by a fighter pilot when he has to take a decision in less than 10 seconds how to engage a fighter aircraft. And this OODA loop framework fits very well when it comes to cyber security. Only four words you have to understand: observe, orient, decide, and act. Entire cyber kill chain, to my understanding, since I am from military background, I feel that gets subsumed so very well in these four words. Ultimate aim, we all understand, cyber security is game of wits. You have to be 2 steps ahead. Your decision-making power, your ability to pick up right kind of inputs in lesser time have to be faster than your adversary. Unfortunately, in the cyber domain, that doesn't happen. We can only be proactive, we can be preemptive, but it becomes very, very difficult to reduce our OODA loop to overcome the action taken by the enemy. AI and ML, as we speak today, adversaries have been using by and large for different kind of attacks. As somebody who's in defense, it's not by choice. We are at an inflection point. We don't have a choice whether we need to use it. If we have to survive and perform in this domain, we have to use it. Thank you.
Thank you. So you're telling AI and ML is here to stay. We have to use it because adversary is also using. So
it's without fail. I don't see we can survive without that. The digital world won't exist without that.
correct. Thank you. So another thing what I want to bring forth is in Twitter in last couple of weeks there is some debate going on by Elon Musk. It's called the trolley trolley dilemma, where there's a trolley going if the trolley goes, there are some 1,000 or 10,000 people who are there, they will be died, and if the trolley has to be stopped, some racist comment has to be made so that the trolley will stop. So what will the AI do? So it's an ethical question, and Elon Musk, I'm not able to pronounce what his engine was, and it is giving a different answer, and ChatGPT is giving a different answer. So they are different. So coming to our things, Kiran, can you tell if a company is putting AI and ML, particularly to safeguard their data and privacy, when it comes to ethics, what should they do and how will they do that?
Well, I think while there is a great potential which AI brings, and it's an immense opportunity perspective for all the enterprises, for all the ethical use perspective, and obviously even if you look at the way it is learning and also from the large data sets which is really coming up, I think that is really making the potential of the use of AI, because if you look at the security team in any enterprise, it's always outgrown in terms of the entire enterprise or the technology perspective team as well, or for that matter, business. So I think this is kind of a boon in terms of it has been used potentially, but obviously you need to ensure the tool which enterprises are using, obviously the same tools are also being used by threat actors as well. So now the attacks are also going to change, obviously.
So, but the threat actor doesn't have any ethics. So here we have to consider about the ethics.
Yeah. So largely in terms of ethical, I think one is the policies and processes which I look around for that matter. So when I talk about ethics, it also comes about poisoning of your the new threat vector which we are observing is on the data models. From the security aspects perspective. So while it is helping us to detect and also to prevent and also to automate most of the stuffs, I think that's where your data models also comes into play for the larger enterprises perspective. So policies and processes is what the first steps we have also did it in our for the ethical use perspective, and having the technologies which are using from the models perspective, we ensure those are being periodically audited so that the poisoning of those or there are any threats around on the data models for the automations perspective, because always say while we are using it from the ethical use, but it's a double-edged sword as well for that matter. So that's where I feel from the policies, processes, and then coming to the technology is what we have done.
Okay, thanks. So we have been now talking about AI is here to stay. Companies have to embrace AI and they have to work towards. So, Mr. Vijay, can you tell us what are the trainings and skill sets people need and companies need to work on this AI and ML?
Sure, but before that, I would like to add something which was said on ethics on the AI solutions which are coming up. If you see, whenever any new technology comes in market, it becomes available for people to use as well as threat actors to use. So you can take a little back in the history when your payment card industries have come, you could make transactions and frauds happening. So there was a framework, PCI DSS built around it. When you have a digital data which is going on various social media platforms and other places, you have regulations coming around it in terms of data privacy, GDPR and other acts which are following to put something into a regulations and make it as a law as such. Similarly, this new technology, when there is no governance, no regulations, we talk about ethics, but soon it is going to affect your life. So some regulations and laws will be built around it as per the previous technologies which has been built. At the moment, let us say you pick up a OpenAI question, you say site, say ChatGPT, you throw a question, it will give you a result. But what kind of a question you throw it? What kind of a platform answer the platform is supposed to give so that it doesn't affect society per se. So that's a long call which has to happen. Coming per se to the skills that are required in terms of this new paradigm which is opened up here. So when you say AI ML, it cannot be used in isolations in any organization which is practicing cybersecurity. You have to have a domain knowledge first. So the first skills which I will look for an individual to actually utilize AI ML capability in the cybersecurity is that a person has to understand on which framework the entire cybersecurity runs. You need to understand the risk-based framework, maybe the NIST. The second thing, a person needs to understand how the attacks are happening, the vectors, etc. The MITRE framework is another thing which I will request a person to add into the skills. And another thing is that the kind of offensive security as well as defensive security, the kind of roles which a red team and a blue team plays, he need to understand. Once this basic cybersecurity domain skills are clear, a person knows that what kind of data sets he will require to build a data model on which AI ML can be applied. So that becomes the prerequisite. And in order to apply this data modeling, he has to have some kind of a scripting knowledge and of kind of libraries which can process its data sets to get into some kind of a result. In addition, a person also needs to keep a watch on how AI/ML is progressing. Let us say your generative adversarial networks where AI is getting pitched against AI and how that thing is evaluating and changing your threat landscape. So I think with these skills, anybody is fit to use AI ML in the cybersecurity domain?
Thank you. So till now we are talking about AI in the sense of whenever something happens, a reactive approach. So Mr. Amitabh, do you think AI can be used in predictive analysis in cybersecurity? Can it help us in predicting if it can be attacked or whatever?
What I believe is it can certainly be used. I'll again use that acronym: observe, orient, decide, and act. If all the 4 steps you take in isolation, observing is getting to know what is happening around, to what we can in cyber domain call threat intel. Orient is making sense out of it. What context is he speaking about? Decide is decision making ability, and act is finally taking acting on that. So if with my understanding, and I take that framework, in every step of UDA framework, it can be used with adequate efficiency and accuracy, bringing out the accuracy part of it, timely part of it, and overcoming the limitation which a normal human being or a normal human being, because of many factors, will have it. It can certainly be used in all the 4 verticals, if I see from UDA framework, or if you see from the cyber chain framework.
Thank you. So I'm coming to something called as bias. So when we are going to airport, so this is happening mostly in the US. So whenever people are going through TSA check-in, mostly colored people are being set aside for additional screening. So there's a bit of bias. So if we take that data and put it into make an AI model, so AI will also be biased. So Pooja, can you tell do you think that there will be bias in AI model in cybersecurity, and how we can stop that thing?
Sure, that's a great question. So suppose, take example of YouTube. So you put some search on it and you get a result. But do you think that stopped there? Based on your result, based on your search or prompt, you will continue seeing that result repeatedly, right? So ideally what happens is AI and ML, they try to observe you and then they learn from you that what you like, what you don't like, and then they keep pushing things which you might not even need. But somehow in the background, the bias has created, because you are not getting a full picture of the entire range of products, but only the things which you have searched for. So that is indirect bias. And at a bigger level, so when the data is provided to these AI models or ML, if that data itself is somehow biased, that will reflect in the result, and it can be very dangerous because it will increase the discrimination or targeting towards a certain group or individual, and which might result in a very bad circumstances, right? And take into account when bad actors tamper the input data which we are providing to the AI and ML models. So they will increase the false positives and false negatives. So false positive will highlight the problem or the individual, and they will show it as a risk vector or threat vector. In reality, they are not. And when it comes to false negative, then they will just ignore the real alert, right? That also creates a huge risk. Also, when we see that there is a lack of diversity when it comes to providing the inputs to these models. So if the certain group of developers, they are all men, so they will think from that direction, and we are lacking that diversity because different individuals from different sectors brings a different set of perspectives and opinions. So definitely a diversity is key, and yes, and so those biases can really affect in a bad way.
Thank you. So you are telling diversity, if the developers are diverse, then they can solve the problem of bias. And do you think there can be another AI model which can see, okay, there's this model is getting tweaked to another bias, and it can stop, or anything such kind of thing can be done?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Okay, so there's a model which is getting biased. It is getting trained and it is getting biased towards something. So do you think you're talking about diversity in programming, but what about how do we detect that it is getting biased?
Yeah, that's a different set of challenge. Means if an organization has those skilled people who can, investigate and identify that we have this data which is biased. So as I have given the example previously that getting a picture of a CISO, so are we ready to identify that this kind of biases? Means this is just at a very high level we are referring here, but we again organizations need to think that when they are relying on AI and ML use, they have to be very careful that the result they are getting is correct and accurate. And for that, they definitely need to invest in providing the right set of training and getting those resources who have a knowledge in cybersecurity as well as AI and ML, which is quite rare nowadays.
Yeah, so bias in AI is a very big challenge even these days. People are posting screenshots on saying that when they are asking ChatGPT to tell jokes on particular religion, it is telling jokes on some religions, and for some religion it is not telling a joke. So this kind of bias should be there. So there should be some kind of uniformity or something should be there. So Kiran, coming to you. So in the previous panel, they were discussing about ransomware attacks, and some incident has happened, and they were telling when some incident happens, everyone runs and skelter. So do you think AI can help companies in doing this incident response? How can it help?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the partnership between the human and the AI is going to be pivotal in the future of cybersecurity. So I think that's where if you look at from the traditional ways of from the signature-based prevention or the traditional way of protecting the enterprise is actually not going to work out. We have such a large data sets. So I think that's where the machine learning is really coming into and help for that matter. So I think that is really helping in terms of obviously with this learning, continuous learning, which really helps to fine tune the data sets as well. And in terms of defining the automation. So I think that is the cycle which really follow, and that's where coming back also on the data sets, I think the data quality, which is also very important, we'll gradually see how the entire data journey from data discovery, classifications or data management is really turning up to the entire life cycle, where it also comes from the privacy, data protection perspective as well, or from the threat analytics, threat prevention as well. So these are quite very connected nowadays, while it all has to be very interconnected. So I think that's the perspective which I bring in terms of this is the entire. So largely in terms of the response time, it's more automations which will come into trigger, and largely the human intelligence could really play in something which is quite critical, where you need more analytics, more judgment. I think that's where the analytics would come into picture.
Great. So we are running out of time. But before going, I want to ask all of you a question, and you will be getting 2 minutes to. So what do you see is what do you predict will happen to AI in the field of cybersecurity? What can happen?
I think your going to market time is going to be very fast. Any startup or delivery of a product will be very fast because developers will be assisted, your content writers will be assisted. That's what will be there.
So I think with this AI coming in, while the detections will go very high, so I think equally we need to improve on the response time. So response time is something which really need to be worked upon. With response time, I mean to say the remediation times, because detections of the incidents, of the events will be coming across all the platforms we use in the ecosystem. So I think remediations is going to lag behind. I think that is somewhere we have to work on.
So remediations, coming to remediation, so as I told, there was a vulnerability in our code and we used ChatGPT and ChatGPT changed to the new version. So there were a lot of functions which were deprecated and we have to go through lines of code. But what ChatGPT did, it changed the code and gave it to us immediately that this is the code. And we could use that thing. So maybe it can also use, we can also use in remediation in some other problem. Pooja.
Yeah, so चैट जीपीटी मीन्स अभी तो एआई घर घर पहुंच गया है, हर एक गांव में भी पहुंच गया है, राइट? सो देयर इज अ नीड दैट दिस एआई एंड एमएल नीड्स टू बी used in a responsible way, and it's a responsibility of everyone, especially we in cybersecurity community. There is a invisible responsibility we carry in that we should provide maximum awareness in wherever it's possible. And again, I was in Singapore for almost 10 years, and I have seen that the amount of data they capture, the government capture, whether you like it or not, right? Your face and everything, wherever you go, whatever you do, everything is captured. So when it comes to a concept of smart city or smart nation, it depends on the amount of data. So there is a lot of privacy concern. So how, when you are collecting that data, how you are protecting it? So again, that responsibility lies with the data collector. So yes.
So what do you predict which will happen in AI? So we know now AI can be used in information incident response. It can be used for anything. So what do you predict? Do you foresee something will happen in using AI in cybersecurity?
As I said, that AI is now everywhere, and it's just a beginning. So it can be used for good purposes. For all my fellow panelists has already covered those points. And when it comes to the adversarial effects, it is equally getting used by the bad actors. So we have to be ready with, and we should be prepared to handle maybe it is a cyber incident or any threat we see at individual level. We have to improve our preparedness.
Mr. Amitabh.
Let me stretch it a bit more. See, I look at the, see, after about 5 years or so from now, you have Internet 3.0. You are somewhere close to metaverse. Your IoT penetration with 5G has gone to industrial level. And on top of that, quantum technology has come, which I don't, I look at it, it might come by 2030 or so. So challenges will be very, very immense. The attack surface will go exponentially high, beyond probably anybody's comprehension here. At that point in time, again going back to that OODA loop, if we think that we can do it manually without intervention of technologies in a right form, right size, right frame, I think it won't be, it will be next to impossible. We have to use this technology optimally to stay, survive, and flourish in the digital society.
Thank you. So, so we are discussed about various topics, and we are also know adversaries are using AI, and we are also using. But the one thing what adversaries have here there is they don't care about ethics, they don't have any bias, so they can use it. So while we are working towards the regulations, while we are working towards ethics, while we are working about bias, I think they will have a advantage where without these things they can make more sophisticated attacks on our infrastructure, and we have to be ready on the thing. So we have to take again help of AI in doing this. So with that, I'll be opening for questions. Anyone has any questions, please?
Thanks. So I will be slight devil's advocate here, and my question will go to Pooja. Okay. So you refer to a recommender system. You say it gets biased. My appreciation is this bias thing in AI is a very kind of a misleading understanding. It's putting what we can achieve, it is limiting our scope of achievements. In a cyber world, once you are trying to protect a system, the data learned by a AI system is the ground truth. It may be harsh, it may not be what we like. So as far as looking for a social domains where we are looking for biases not to get introduced into a social delivery of social service, just as career progressment, fine. But we are looking at a system to be protected. The harsh, whatever that truth is, that is what is going to protect us. If the attacks are coming from Nigeria or they're emanating from a place in Romania, and if my systems are protecting and detecting that, it's a bias, okay, it's getting, and over a period the system will learn, okay, this predictably, yes, this is the region, geographic region where the attacks originate, this kind of attack. But that is what is going to protect us. Application of bias to cybersecurity, how do you perceive with this, my take on this, how it is going to help us? Cybersecurity is something which is a very, very professional job, which should not get limited by the concept of bias.
Yeah, that's a good question. But we cannot say that it should not impacted by the bias because we cannot deny the truth that whether we like it or not, the data which we are providing and feeding and the models which the AI models or the ML models, they are learning from all the available data, right? So we have a control to a certain extent, but we don't have a control overall. Suppose your organization has an individual who has some malicious intention. He will log in and he will tamper your data. So forget about Romania and everything. Inside, there is a threat. So it's a cybersecurity threat again. So we have to again use AI and ML. I'm not saying I'm not against of using it, but I'm saying that we have to consider the fact that biases cannot be avoided. It will be there, and we have to address it. Means if based on the result, we have to analyze it and see to what degree the bias present. And if we succeed into that, then we can take the next steps to rectify it, because rectifying the entire input data is not possible.
My question is that when we see AI and ML, okay, when the threat actors are using AI and ML, they are mostly sending you genuine requests. How can you differentiate between both, whether it's a genuine request or whether it's a malicious code? Because nowadays everything is becoming so accurate and so genuine.
So I will take that question as when you say that attacker has used generative AI to make a request. I think when we say request is HTTP requests, they are formatted, so they cannot be generated by using generative AI. The only thing generative AI can maybe use the content to maybe draft a phishing mail. Your phishing mail, generally the awareness technique that we use is to verify, pick up and call the original caller. But if a phishing mail is prefixed by a deepfake video or a call which is generated by the AI technology, you will tend to believe. But there also you need to stick to your basic principles to stick to these your techniques to prevent these kind of attacks. The more predominantly which I feel is your AI ML is going to increase your social engineering attacks rather than your these attacks. Another thing it will going to increase is your exploit development will also speed up. And it will be used. There will be no script kiddies now. You will have a proper code which has been targeted to deliver a particular payload.
Okay, then. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes, check. Indeed, a huge round of applause and thank you so much, sir. Now, I would like to request Augustine Kurian, sir, to kindly come on stage and present the certificates to our panelists. Thank you so much. We'll first start with Mr. Vijay Kumar Verma, SVP and Head Cybersecurity Engineering, Geo Platforms Limited. Congratulations, sir. Can we have a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? Next we have Mr. Kiran Belsekar, EVP, CISO and IT Governance, Agon Live. Congratulations, sir. Thank you so much for coming. Next we have Ms. Pooja Shimpi, Founder and CEO, Cyber Now. Congratulations, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining. Next we have Mr. Amitabh Bhardwaj, sir, Joint Director, Ministry of Defence and Government of India. Thank you so much for joining, sir. Last but not the least, for our moderator, Mr. Venkata Satish Guttula, co-founder and CISO, Cyber Exchange. Thank you so much for moderating the session, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, this panel discussion was on the topic Empowering Cyber Sentinels, the crucial role of AI and ML in defending cyberspace. Thank you so much, all the panelists and the moderator.